Hi everyone, my name is Annabelle Barrett. I use she, her pronouns, and this is my artist talk. So I'm graduating this year with a PDP major, which is painting, drawing, and printmaking, as well as a minor in art history. I started off my college career as a psychology major at St. Leo University, and while taking an art elective there, I realized how much I loved art and wanted to make a career out of it. It really wasn't until later when I transferred to the University of North Florida that I saw there was an official program for fine arts that I switched my major. Later on into the program, I was lucky enough to study abroad in Italy, which was not only a life-changing experience, but a reminder of the significance of art throughout history. These are some of my inspirations. I first learned about them taking art history classes online, but these artists stood out to me the most during those classes and have the most influence on my art. I was even able to see the birth of Venus in real life, and it's so much more beautiful in person. What really started my love for art was doodling in my notebook, and this became more refined when I learned about Nara. The other artists inspire me more for my conceptual-based work, as I noticed that I tend to love experimenting with red. I also really admire Andrew Kodama for his ability to create dynamic portraits with using just two colors, and also using experimental brushstrokes. Some of my other influences include manga, music, and photography. Mother's album Grief Chapter came out in a time in my life where everything was changing all at once, and the songs in that album reflected the hardships of change while also acknowledging its importance to continue moving forward. Junji Ito also is one of my favorite all-time illustrative artists and story writers, and photography for experimenting with dynamic lighting, posing of the figure, and finding captivating compositions. So while I've always admired swans, it really wasn't until I had discovered this German tattoo artist named Matthias that I really decided to implement them into my own art. His designs just kind of spoke to me like I'd seen them before or something, but it was really from then on I became interested in everything about them. Right away, I saw the parallels between the animal and my own nature and knew that I wanted to use them as symbols in my art. So when I first started as a fine arts major, I was really focused on improving my technical skill, that when it came to my concepts, I was corny, for lack of a better word. I came to the realization that I was just so consumed in wanting to impress everyone that I lost sight of what was truly meaningful to me. But this pushed me to look more at myself and my experiences. Then I began to kind of research more things that felt exclusive to women, and this is when it reiterated that the swan was the symbol of the emergence of womanhood, not only just undergoing a complete physical transformation, but psychological one as well. Throughout history, media, and nature, swans have symbolized beauty, transformation, and duality from classical mythology to contemporary performance. In Swan Lake and Black Swan, they embody both purity and darkness. Artists throughout history, like Leonardo da Vinci, have depicted swans in their work as a symbol of love, mystery, and metamorphosis. Swans in nature are fiercely territorial. This just reinforces kind of the symbolic contrast between serenity and aggression. So this piece was a stepping stone for some of my more current work. This drawing captures a moment of kind of a self-awareness, emphasizing the eyes and facial expression. Really deepened my interest in portraiture as a means of exploring personal identity. Also, just the blue patterns in the back play at manipulating reality, which later evolved into incorporating more surreal elements into my newer paintings. This is my first painting I made of the series. With this piece, I wanted the swan to be more of a protector as I confront the viewer. The grayscale palette enhances the emotional weight of the scene, emphasizing contrast, softness, and almost a dreamlike quality. With all of my work, I like to use the next piece as an opportunity to try something new or just try new ways of communicating the message without necessarily having to include myself. This piece was a turning point for me in defining the relationship with the swan, because although I'm not represented, it still represents the tie between the swan and myself as it lays lifeless, cradled by my hands. So I made this body of work returning from Italy, and it's very contemporary, and that's because although seeing all the classics in Italy, it strengthened my appreciation for the classical style, but also like the value of freedom of expression in contemporary style paintings. So these were all part of a triptych, which is a 3-layered painting, and this work is a little bit more direct in its approach to the subject matter, but just putting color in my pieces felt needed, and yeah, I really enjoyed working on these to take a break from the last series. So my process kind of depends on like what I'm painting on. Sometimes an idea will come to mind, or other times I just take pictures until I find one that speaks to me, and once I have a reference picked out, I put it in Procreate, play around with it, and this is kind of about as far as planning goes for me. The actual painting process is what varies every time. But usually when working with a figure, I use the reference for proportions and then kind of stray off of it when I start doing things like the background or hair or just other things that I can kind of manipulate a little bit more without needing a reference. This helps me stay engaged with the work, but also allows for more subconscious expressions to tie back into my work. So this piece, I just wanted to focus on the duality of symbolism through light and color. The facial expression is barely peeking through the vibrancy of red, almost overtaken by the intensity of the color. And this was exciting to work on, just to continue further developing matters of my concept. So this is part of my new series, which will hopefully merge the two that I've been working on. This one will make a return in this series, bridging the past works into something new. I'm working on stretched canvas to help speed up the process. It's in the early stages, but yeah. Thank you for listening. Special thanks to people who have supported me throughout this journey, professors, family, friends. This body of work wouldn't have been possible without your insight and support. And so I thank all of you for being a part of this process, and I carry your influence in every piece that I create. So yeah, thank you so much.